Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I promised you guys another video, and I have delivered. I basically took every superhero project that we know of, or comic book project that we know of, which of course would entail Marvel and DC. That's the only two that I follow regularly. I promise you I'll work on stuff like The Boys and Invincible at some point. Maybe you guys can recommend me some other uh comic book projects that aren't Marvel or DC. I hate what my hair is doing right now. However, I have taken a list of every single Marvel and DC project and I sort of lowered them down. So we have just movies and TV shows, and that could be across any sort of animation or whatnot on this list. Um, as the DCU has not come up with any video games yet, this is the best we've got. Um, I've got 26 entries here. So it's a very long list, but it is ranked by my order of excitement, and not everything will be on here. And that's if your favorite project did not make it on here, that's because I'm not excited for it. Um, Coming at number 26, we have Agatha Darkhold Diaries. I've heard a lot of great things about this through leaks, but I don't really think this show is going to be anything crazy. I do have it as everything on this list is 7 out of 10, and another prerequisite is that it had to be named, and in Agatha's case, that show has been named three different things over the course of its marketing campaign. So yeah, so any untitled project also is not on this list. So if you maybe like, wait, what about Matt Reeves' untitled Arkham project? It's not on here because it doesn't have a name. Once it has a name, I'll add it to the list and I'll talk about where I would place it on my list in a future video. But yeah, Agatha is just, every project had to be a 7 out of 10 enjoyment, and this just barely got there. I think it's going to be at least a 7, but that's the best I could really do. Um, and I don't know, I'm just not as excited for this as other projects, but I still think it's going to be worth checking out. Blade is number 25. I think Blade in particular has this big issue where I was really excited for it when it first was announced. It's been too long and I do not care anymore. And it's unfortunate, but that is the way that the cookie crumbles sometimes. I still care enough that I'm putting it on this list, but it's definitely not up there with most of the rest because I just don't think it's going to be good anymore. I'm only going to be excited to see it because it's Blade, I guess. Number 24 is Swamp Thing. It seems like it's going to be rated R. It's by James Mangold. There's a lot of great things here, but I'm not a huge fan of horror. That's the only thing that's really throwing me here. I was always kind of on the fence about this project, and it is um, my second least anticipated DCU project. Paradise Lost is not on this list. It will not be on this list. But it's not because I don't think Swamp Thing's going to be good, and also these ratings have fluctuated a lot. It's just that again, we don't know anything about this project. To really put it any higher would be a complete idiotic move. And speaking in that range, we have Booster Gold at number 23. Again, I don't know enough about this project. I don't know enough about this character. I'm reading through the whole DC Comics, but I have not gotten to either one of these two characters yet. There's no possible way that I can put them super, super high. It's just not going to happen. Number 22 is What If Season 2. We do know quite a bit about this, and every time I hear something about What If Season 2, I hate it more and more. I just don't think it's really going to be worth it. Um, I again, I really, 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 really enjoyed the first season, so I'm putting it 22 purely because I have faith in Marvel Studios, but I don't know if that faith is misguided or not, considering that it doesn't seem like it's going to be a very fun series, unlike the first season. Venom 3, well, Venom 3 seems like it's actually having a little bit of a better story or a better arc than Venom 2. It seems like it's going to tie into the multiverse arc. Multiverse Saga. Sorry. Honestly, I'm very, very excited for Venom 3. It got the same rating as the rest, and I know it seems weird, but that's because I have so little faith in Sony that I actually don't know if they could even make a good movie that's live action. So I guess we're gonna wait to see. But honestly, the Venom movies have been my favorite over the course of the SSU's history, so hopefully these movies will be some of my favorite as well. Um, Marvel Zombies is number 20. And it's, I believe, one of the last in the 7 out of 10s range. I'm excited for it, but again, they fumbled the bag of What If. I definitely think it's gonna be more enjoyable, but it's only 4 episodes, and I feel like that's also not enough time. It feels like we're just telling a four-part story, which I guess would be the point, but I want to see more. And I don't really know why we aren't gonna get more. They don't really tell us why. Um, Still, that's where I'd place it. Number 19 is Waller. It's the last of my 7 out of 10s and easily my most anticipated of the 7 out of 10s. It's gonna bring back the Peacemaker team. I can't really think of many more projects that are gonna do that. Oh wait, I can think of one, and that will be later on the list. But Waller, that's all it's got going for it. I don't like Amanda Waller at all as a character, and I really don't know why she's getting a show. This should just be another season of Peacemaker, as far as I'm concerned. Number 18, rounding off our 8 out of 10s in terms of excitement, we have Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Again, I think this is going to be really good. I'm a big fan of Supergirl in the comics and, of course, in other media. I think that Supergirl is a very interesting and fun character, and the fact that they're adapting straight, they're straight adapting, that's not, they're adapting a comic book strip, a comic book arc or limited series. I think it's going to be very interesting, and I think people will be excited to see it. Personally, again, I think this is one of my most anticipated DCU projects at the current moment, simply because it sounds so interesting, and also we haven't gotten a good Supergirl movie in forever, so yeah, I'm excited. Number 17 is Captain America: Brave New World. This has gone through a name change that I don't like. I think I thought that New World Order was a better name. However, I understand why they changed it, so I guess I get Brave New World, but I think the name is better. Um, I am excited for it, but not as excited as I was originally. This would have hit a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 earlier on, but right now we have to put it at an 8 out of 10 because it seems like it's somehow doing worse. Obviously, not everything has been filmed at this point, and we are close to its release date, so I don't really know what that's all about. But well, I do know there's an actor strike, but I don't know why they're not delaying it. Was my point. Um, I do think that Captain America: Brave New World will more than likely be a good movie, and that's why I've kind of put it up here. But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be the best that Marvel has to offer, or if it'll make a ton of money. There's a lot of questions up in the air about Brave New World, but I think the idea of the leader coming back after all this time seems very, very interesting, and I'm excited for it. My last 8 out of 10, I know this is a very small category, is The Authority. This movie could be the first R-rated entry in the DCU, maybe. Waller will probably end up being that, but it will be a very, very, very important movie, I'm sure, in the DCU's future. It's interesting that they're making us like a standalone sort of film right after Legacy. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. Of course, I think Superman the Authority will go head to head. I don't really know exactly what their relevance is in the story yet, but it just seems like The Boys, but it's DC, and The Boys is a franchise I've at least watched the first season of, but I stopped. My bad. But I think that The Authority is going to be a very interesting movie and R-rated and violent and stuff, and that's something we're not really getting from Marvel, so it's nice that we're going to get it from DC. Rounding out my 9 out of 10s, we have the upcoming Spider-Woman project. You're probably wondering, Spider-Woman? I didn't hear about that. Is that an SSU movie? Well, no, you probably have heard about this. This is the spin-off movie of the Spider-Verse franchise. I don't know if this is still in production or if it got canceled or not. If it is, it would be pretty high on my list, about halfway through, number 15. Spider-Woman just, to me, sounds like an amazing idea. It's obviously not as highly anticipated for me as Beyond is, or as Across was when it first came out. But I think that having more movies set in the Spider Verse universe is a good thing. It doesn't have to just be a trilogy, and you don't have to overdo it as well. And I think Spider Woman, of course, woman is plural here. I think it's going to be a very interesting movie if it ever does get made. Lanterns is at number 14. We're rounding out the last of the DCU entries before we get to some of the bigger like hitters in the DCU. But Lantern sounds really interesting. I love Green Lantern. Hal Jordan is my favorite, so he is one of the two Lanterns focused on in the series. But I've heard good things about John Stewart. I haven't read a comic with him in it. I haven't watched anything with him in it. That's just my bad. But I think that John Stewart will be able to carry his own show. And I know that was originally what this was supposed to be, but then they added Hal in. And I think it's just James Gunn's way of adapting the Green Lantern Corps for his DCU. I think it's going to be very interesting. Number 13 is the Penguin. Again, it's a Batman spinoff. This is going to be high up, but it might be shocking to you that it's not that high up. I know for many people, like if you know me in real life, you know I'm a huge fan of the Batman. So you would think, ah, the Penguin, that would be your number one, but it's not, or number two. You know, barring the Batman Part Two, but it's not because the Penguin to me seems kind of unnecessary. I'm still waiting for Matt Reeves to really give us a reason to really enjoy this show, other than the fact that hey, it's connected to the Batman. I want to see something else from the show, and hopefully when it comes out, I'll be able to kind of figure it out and be like, okay, that's why he made it. I don't know right now. Number 12 is Peacemaker Season 2. Yep, this is the one where I get to see Team Peacemaker back again. I just think that this whole group and this idea of Peacemaker continuing is an amazing thing. I don't know what season one's going to entail or what the point was, but hopefully that will still be canon, sort of. And season two can kind of continue the story because I love Vigilante, I love Peacemaker, I love that whole team. Number 11 is Creature Commandos. Again, we're going to get a little bit of maybe some Peacemaker stuff in that. I don't think that'll happen. I know Economos is in the show. That might be the extent of that, but I hope that more people are in it because I would really enjoy that. But Creature Commandos is simply this high because it's the first entry. If it wasn't the first entry, it would probably be kind of low. But I'm just excited for it because it's the first entry, and that's I'm allowed to do that. It's my list. Moving on to number 10, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. I- I'm only slightly less hyped for this than its sequel, and I'm also, it's one of my most hyped up Marvel movies. But there's issues. I think the fact that it very clearly is just going to resemble Infinity War to me seems kind of weird. Um, I don't know. It's just it feels like they're just kind of repeating the Infinity Saga with these last two movies, and I'd love for them to try up a different formula, but they're not going to. Spider-Man freshman year starts off our 10 out of 10s. Um, this is probably weird for me to say, but I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man because everyone is. So getting a series where he's young and stuff and he's able to kind of it's an alternate universe, but it's still interesting to see and it's animated. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I know what you're probably thinking, where sophomore year, it wasn't included on the list I looked up, and honestly, I was too lazy to find it. So when it eventually gets announced, or maybe it got canceled, I don't know. It'll be on the list if it ever comes out, or is assuming to be coming out. I don't know. If it gets a date, there you go. Daredevil Born Again is number 8. Again, I went through massive rewrites, but I'm not really worried about it. In fact, if anything, it shows that, hey, this show matters. So I'm excited for it to matter because I just think that the reason why the rewrites even happened was more than likely because the show was not good and now they're trying to course correct. So I'm all for it because it means that we should get a better product. Brave and the Bold is number 7. This is the last of my DCU. Actually, there's more. There is more. Brave and the Bold is number 7. It is the last of my DCU entries, aside from one other movie, which we will get to soon. Um, I'm excited for Batman. And if you put Batman in a movie, it's going to be a 10 out of 10. I think that's the case with everything on here. I hope so, because it's true. That's all I gotta say. Batman and Robin, sign me in. Superman Legacy is number 6. There we go. That's the last, and it's like marginally higher than Brave and the Bold. They're kind of they swap every day for me pretty much. But Superman Legacy is gonna be the first movie. It's the first thing that's gonna really push the canon forward and I'm just excited for it because of those reasons. It's a Superman movie. That's cool. Honestly, Man of Steel I didn't love all that much, so I'm hoping it's way better than that. And I'm enjoying Superman comics so far, although he's kind of an iffy character for me. I don't think I'm as big of a Superman fan as most people are, but simply because this is the first movie, I have to put it this high. And yeah, you guessed it, almost every other movie at this point is Marvel, but that's mostly on DC for not having that many movies in production anyway. Marvel's got like 15. It's ridiculous. Deadpool 3 is number 5. Everything I've heard about this movie, I've loved. I have no doubts in my mind this is going to be a good movie. And the only reason it's not higher is because I haven't actually watched Deadpool 2 yet, and that's probably it. So sorry, guys. Fantastic Four is number 4. That was not intentional, but it is kind of fitting. I think the movie has a lot of controversy around, hey, who are they going to cast? Who are they going to cast? Who are they going to cast? But I don't really care. That's not what I care about. What I care about is making sure we get a good Fantastic Four team. And we need a good movie. It's been we've never had a good movie like straight up. I think 2005's Fantastic Four movie was fine, but most of them are really bad. So I just want them to not screw it up, so we can have a good Marvel's first family in the MCU, please. In worst case scenario, they can just reboot after Secret Wars and just redo it. But I don't want them to do that. Beyond the Spider Verse is number 3, and honestly, the next three they're very up in the air. But Beyond the Spider Verse is going to be here because it has a to be determined date. We don't even know when it's coming out. It was supposed to come out in spring of next year, but that's not happening. So I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. Man, I wish Beyond the Spider Verse would have a date because then I would probably care more. But until it does, I can't put it any higher. Um, the Batman Part 2. The Batman's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. a sequel to one of my favorite superhero movies. Yeah, it's a recipe for success. It's my favorite Batman movie. Yeah, it's got to be up there with some of my most anticipated comic book projects. And at this point, we're just talking about movies in general. At this point, Batman Part Two is probably up there with some of my most anticipated projects ever in the history of my life. And that includes Star Wars Episode 7, which for most people is probably the most hyped up project of their lifetime. And number one, Avengers Secret Wars. This is the movie I am most excited for out of all the comic book projects that are coming out. This is the one because they can't really afford to mess it up. I don't think they will mess it up. I don't think they have any chance of messing it up. And I hope I'm not wrong about that. If I am, you can hold me accountable. I mean, the movie comes out in a century, so 2027 is the day right now. It's gonna get moved. I could guarantee it. It's probably 2028, maybe 2029. It's probably gonna stay at 2028, but it's gonna get moved again. And honestly, it's probably for the best. Let's let Marvel really flesh out the story. Let's get Secret Wars to the best place it can be because they can't really fumble this one, and I don't want them to. If you guys did enjoy, you can leave, maybe your top 10. Maybe don't do 26 like I did, but you can do your top 10 or however many you want to. I don't really care. In the comments down below of your most anticipated hyped up comic book movie projects. And as always, just make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below other video ideas. I'm an open book. Reviews, anything really, I'm down for. So yeah, as always, take care. Love you all. Peace.